I had to come to grips with or acknowledge is that, and I don't know if it has something to do with being a woman. I know women have been accused. What's up, Lolo? Been accused of being indecisive. We can't make our minds up. And so, I like to argue all of that kind of stuff. But I had to come to grips with, sometimes I can be indecisive. And when presented with the question, what do you want? I may want to backpedal and pussyfoot around. And recently, maybe in the last 6 months or so, I just have really heard the question in my heart, what do you want? What is it that you want? And each time, I'm a believer, so I'm going to speak as such, without apology. Each time that God would say to me, what do you want, Dynaста? What do you want, Kiane? I would give these either super religious answers. Well, Lord, whatever you want. Or I would give the frustrated answer, like, why do you ask me these questions? Whatever you want, what I want don't seem to matter. You ain't give me what I want when I ask for it. Then I get a little, snarky. And, other times the other, faux humility remark or response, just want the will of the Lord to be done in my life. And I do. But I understand now, really there was a seriousness behind the question, what exactly do you want? Because then it forces me to make a decision. It forces me to declare and speak aloud what I need or what I want. And then when I speak it aloud and I put it out there in the atmosphere, it takes it from, internal, it takes it from being on the inside to now in the atmosphere and being out and about. And there's now a responsibility to it. It's a responsibility twofold. One, to God, because he said, if I ask for it, I can have it. That's his word. So now that's in his court. And then also to myself to say, this is what you said you wanted. How are you going to participate and engage in what you say you wanted? Which puts another onus on myself, right? I'm no longer over here on the genie in the bottle saying, oh, are you going to fulfill my wishes? But it's now like, okay, what am I going to do to engage in this process? And what sacrifices am I going to make? Am I willing to make? Am I going to stick by? What engagement of my faith am I going to stand on? This is a lot. And I realized perhaps I was being indecisive and that kind of thing because I wasn't sure if I was ready to do all of that. What place of vulnerability are you willing to endure by putting things out there, right? And so the question, what do you want? And so I've been forced to answer that question very clearly and directly. And then when answering that question about my career, what do I want? About my relationships, what do I want? About my surroundings and my home, what do I want? About my spiritual walk, what am I looking for? What exactly do I want? And does that align with my purpose? And those kind of questions. And so when I began this season, it's an ongoing process, work in progress. When I began answering these questions and stating it, there was a lot of onus on me to engage. And there's a lot of onus on me to, be willing to stand by that. So, but here's the part that I want to, share with you guys as well is, what do you want? Speak it, say it, declare it. Now, I'm not talking about genie in the bottle, Santa Claus, Liz, Easter Bunny, I'm not talking about that, but I'm really talking about, living a purpose-filled life. I'm talking about having a quality of life that aligns with who we are as King's kids. I'm talking about dreams that you've had since you were a child. I'm talking about dreams that leaped up in you or thoughts that leaped up in you and you dismissed them because I'm too old. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough. You dismiss them because I'm not smart enough. You dismiss them because I don't have enough money. You dismiss them because well, that's Sally's thing. That's not my thing. And you dismiss them. But yet when they come across your mind, it sticks with you. It lingers with you. It leaps inside of you. And it kind of haunts you. Those are the things I'm talking about. What do you really want? So I challenge you to answer that question honestly. And then when you honestly answer the question in these various areas of your life, and then I challenge you to say it. Say it aloud. Whether in front of someone, that may come later, or just aloud to yourself in the mirror. Say it aloud. And then I challenge you to write it. I'm a writer, y'all. So that's going to come up anytime I do something. But to write it, that's also biblical, you know. Hey, Marcia, it's also biblical. You write the vision and make it plain. So, you know, it's not just me. It's what the Bible says. So write it. As you say it aloud, like use your voice, not your head voice, but your mouth voice. Say it aloud. Write it. What do you want? Like, seriously. You know how we do vision boards? And you have pictures on it. And, you know, I got one. It's my vision board. It's more like a collage of who I understand myself to be and things I enjoy. But you know how you have the vision board, you got pictures and stuff on it. But there's another kind of vision board that you can do, if you will, or a vision journal, if you will, and you can write it. So once I was challenged to do this activity, to write about what my ideal work day would look like. So this leads into the work week, what my ideal work week would look like. And I thought, okay, you know, I'll be this, but no, the writing is very, very specific. So from what time to what car you drive to get there, how do you get there, to when you walk into the space, is it your office or are you walking into someone else's office? And if it's your office, what does it look like? Is your sign on the front of the door? Is it up high? Is it up low? Is there carpet? Is it automatic door? I mean, you begin to write this thing down. Hey, Nene, what's up? Write it down. Write it out. Say it, write it. And then when you write it, once you say it and you've written it, rehearse it and revisit it. Right? So if you like me, I got 1,000 journals. Every journal had a purpose until I got tired on the 5th page and I got a new journal. I'm terrible. You got to pray for me. I got journal issues, paper issues. I love paper. So I got thousands of journals and each journal had a purpose. So this is my poem journal. This is my thought journal. This is my brainstorm journal. Oh, craziness. But I started going through the journals, right? I'm like, wow, I did write that out. I did say that. And so then I'm like, okay, let me rehearse and revisit what I said and what I wrote. Because I can say it, I can write it, and I can leave it. But herein lies, what do you want? Seriously, what do you want? Say it, write it, and then revisit it, rehearse it. If you got to say it in the morning before you start your day. I have this affirmation in front of me that I sometimes forget. I'm down here in the computer, and then right in front of me is an affirmation that I am healthy, wealthy, happy, and whole. I'm loved by God. This is my affirmation each and every day. Reach, stretch, seize, make your dreams tangible things. So I'm like, it's right in front of me. I said it, I wrote it, but I gotta revisit it and I gotta rehearse it. Right? So you got to put that stuff out there in the atmosphere. So then after you've done all that, as you continue to do that, this is where, and I'm going to just do a little bit of this. I'm sorry that the Facebook one is a little dark. I see that it's a big difference than the other one, but hopefully you can still see me and definitely hear me. Sometimes you're saying something, this is what I want. You done written it out and you're saying it every day. Like every day I wake up and I got to walk the dogs in the rain. I'd be like, I thank you for my yard, my fenced in yard. I'll say it aloud because I'm frustrated that I got to go out in the rain. Sometimes I don't feel like walking. I just want to be able to let them out. It's a simple thing, but it's major to me. Okay. So every little thing. And I'm like, I'll say, I thank you for my fenced in yard because I know this is something that I need and that I desire. So it is a small example, but herein lies the other key is once you start to say it and rehearse it, you have to engage your belief and your faith that it's not just a a ritual or some kind of litany, but engage your faith and changing the conversation in your head. As a workshop that I have called, that talks about conversations. The workshop is called Conversations, and it talks about the internal conversations that we have. So as we are writing and saying and rehearsing, this is the process of changing the conversation. Because once you start changing the conversation in your head, you start to change the thought pattern. And when you change the thought pattern, your behavior begins to change. So let me give an example of how thoughts really are impacting our everyday behavior. And sometimes we don't really realize it. Testimony time. So there was a time in my life where I really didn't feel worthy of love, right? Raised in a single family, single mother. And at that time, my father wasn't present, and it didn't appear that he wanted to be. As a kid, you don't know all the details, right? So it just didn't appear that way. And so I was raised all of my life without that, right? So there was this underlying conversation of lack of worthiness of love. Even though I'm raised in a household that says you can do it, you're worthy, but the internal conversation wasn't matching what I was hearing. And even though I may present one way, what was underlying was a negative conversation internally, and consequently would inhibit me from doing certain things or pursuing certain things or trying certain things, because at the core of it, I may have given the excuse, well, I'm not really interested in that, or that won't really work, or whatever. But at the core of the behavior was, hey Dad, at the core of the behavior was the thought, the conversation, the internal conversation of lack of worthiness of love, right? So as a result of that internal conversation that is not positive, that is not edifying, your behavior is demonstrative of that. But as you say it, say what you want, as you write it, and as you rehearse and revisit it, you are in the process. That's developing the process of changing the internal conversations. You got to change the internal conversation so that your behavior will dictate accordingly. So now I'm in a place where I'm pretty clear on my skill sets. Now I got plenty of faults. You can talk about that all day. But I'm also clear on some things I'm strong at and what I can do. Something I'm not so positive, but I'm pretty clear on what I can do. So now, because I've been rehearsing that, right? I've been embracing that. When I go for an interview or when I go for a conversation, I'm talking to people, what have you. It's not any longer, well, I think I would like to, we can try, this is what I can offer you. This is now what I'm saying. This is what I can offer you. Hey, Priscilla, this is what I can offer you now, because I'm confident and clear on what I have, because the internal conversation has changed, and thus my behavior is changing when I'm interfacing in the world around me. Hope that makes sense. So what does that mean for this week? My Miss Kiane's coaching for this week is, hey, what do you want? What do you want? Say it, speak it aloud. Don't pussyfoot around about it. Again, I'm not talking about genie in the bottle. I'm talking about seriously purpose, alignment with who you are and who God made you to be. What do you want? What's the life that you see and you want to see for yourself? Say it, write it, and rehearse it, revisit it on a daily basis. So even if it means for Monday morning, because it's coming, y'all. Monday morning gonna be here. Work week gonna start. And instead of being consumed by whatever consumes you on a typical Monday morning, you seize the day. Declare what you want. You can start and you can do small increments. I talked today about big picture, but you can do this for a daily thing. What do I want today? What do I want to happen today? What do I want to be in the earth today? What do I want to represent today? What do I want to accomplish today? What is it? Write it and say it. Say it, write it, and revisit it, rehearse it, reinforce it throughout the day. See what happens. See what happens with how you respond, how you behave, and see the outcome. I dare say you have a different outcome than maybe you have in times past. So you got to be what you see. All right. Now, hope that made sense. Oh, good. Thanks. I'm glad it made sense to you, cuz. I hope that makes sense for everybody that's watching. Share this post, share the video. Follow me on social media. Either you can find me on Facebook or Twitter and Instagram and Periscope, either at Miss Kiane, MISSKIANE, or Kiane Inc., which is KIANEINK. Please do that. Give me some hearts. Give me some follows. So we can just keep engaged. I love conversation. So the second part of this video is for the purpose of choosing the word. I asked you guys to, well, some of you may not have known that because honestly speaking, I probably haven't really been pushing enough. But over the last couple of weeks, I just started the Periscope broadcast on Wednesdays called Words on Wednesdays. And it really is a writing challenge ultimately for me as a poet. And I encourage any one of you who, whether you're a poet or a writer or not, just, hey, I'm telling you, writing is a wonderful tool. It helps your memory. I mean, it's a whole lot of stuff. I'm gonna have to do a scientific neurological broadcast. So for you non-believers, but it can be very helpful. But it's a writing challenge. I'll pick a word. I ask you guys, any followers, any watchers, viewers, friends, family, strangers, give me a word or a topic, and I put it into a little bowl of other words and topics that have been collected, and I choose randomly a word or a topic from this collection on Sundays, on the Sunday broadcast, and then that'll be the word that I am challenged to write, or I am challenged to use that word in a poem between Monday and Tuesday, and then present that poem on Wednesday for Words on Wednesdays. Now, here's the other part. You can join that challenge once you see what that word is. You can join it. And if you want to share it, or if you want me to share it, you can send it to me on either one of those social media platforms in a private message. And if you give me permission, I'll share it. Because, hey, let's just create a community of collaboration and exercise our writing muscles together. Okay. And if you don't want to share, but you still want to write, I encourage it all the same. And then on Words on Wednesdays, we talk about it. I look for your feedback and things like that. So that's really, for fun at the end of the day. And again, to exercise the writing muscle. Okay. So we got, today we're going to choose a word. I don't have too many in here, but it's enough. And I know what some of them are. So I'm like, I mean, I really want, I don't know if I really want them. But anyway, we're going to choose a word. But before we do that, oh man, I dropped the word. Hold on. Let me get it. Don't want nobody to feel not included. But before we do that, you're more than welcome to add a word right now. If you're watching live, you can post a word. I'll add it to the pile. I don't have a problem with adding it to the pile. While you're thinking a word, any word. It could be any word, right? Keep it appropriate, you know what I'm saying? But any word doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to get a $10 million word. No, not thinking about just any word. You say, hey, Kiane, can you write a poem with this word in it? And how would you do it? That's basically what you're saying. Give me a word. You can drop it in the comments at anytime, drop it in the comments. But while you're doing that, I'm going to give a couple announcements. So I am the chief organizer for a meetup in the District of Columbia called the DC Poetry Spot. It's basically a little group, it's a little club of writers and creative scribblers, I like to call us, who get together once a month. Eternity, love it. I got it, cuz. Who get together once a month and, just kind of engage in conversation and writing prompts and challenge ourselves to write based on the prompts. And I know it may seem kind of like, oh, okay, that's cute. That's, whatever y'all want to do. But I promise you, every time we get together, I'm thinking, okay, we'll write a little something, we go home, we call it, and we give feedback, we go home. But I promise you, every time we get together, the conversations go deep. And it's really encouraging. You get to meet new people and that kind of thing. So for September, October, November, September, I'm still waiting on our guest speaker. It may ultimately be me, but definitely September the 8th either myself or a guest facilitator will be there. But I wanted to let you know for October the 13th, the facilitator for that meetup will be D Scribe. Some of you may follow her on Facebook or Instagram. She is a poet bar none. She did a couple workshops for us before on rhythm. If you've heard her before, she is very rhythmic. She's a hip hop head, and she taught us the breakdown of writing with rhythm, and taught us the science of rapping, which I love music and musicality, but I really didn't realize the science behind that form of writing. We didn't write raps, y'all. But we're learning about musicality, and she's done an excellent job with that. Her name is D Scribes, DEE Scribes, like scribe writing. Follow her on Instagram and Facebook. She's going to be our facilitator for October the 13th. I'll post where that location will be. It will be in DC, at one of our lovely libraries, most likely either in Northwest at the Shaw Howard Library or in Southeast at the William O. Lockridge Library. We'll post it and make sure you know about it. Also, November 10th, we have another guest facilitator, which is Kim B. Miller. OMG. Kim B. Miller is another fabulous writer, author, advocate, that kind of thing, all that wrapped up in one. Some of you may know her, some of you may not. Check her out on Facebook, Kim B. Miller. She'll be our facilitator for November the 10th at the meetup called DC Poetry Spot. You definitely don't want to miss that. And then December, our meetup will be the Gathering, Open Mic with a Cause. So please keep your ears and eyes open for these events. You definitely want to be a part, even if you don't consider yourself a poet or a writer, but you appreciate the arts, or you know someone who appreciates the arts. Tell them, tell a friend, bring a friend, all that good stuff.